Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first matches of the Summer Cup group stages. This is actually the 10th annual Summer Cup, which is that's a lot of Summer Cups. And to go through them with me, we got Po Noob, hello, and Yosh.
Hello, hello. Yeah, a few pretty interesting matches today, I think.
Yeah. We got a few of the players from these matches in the chat, so they'll be able to explain themselves a little bit, maybe. Not like they would ever have made any mistakes or errors.
Yeah, so we're going to be starting off with a game, a new blood versus old blood. It's going to be Yeesh versus Guggie.
Yeah.
Although Guggie's been around for a bit now. And then, Yosh, what's our second match?
And our second match is gonna be between Koopa and Wrestler. And both of those matches are interesting. I think all four players in those matches can make it out of their group pretty easily. It's harder for some than the others, but that's the predictions as they stand, I believe.
All right, and
Just to go through...
there's not actually a draft. Opie picks everything for you and the order. So, obviously that's why ballroom's first. And then it's just, pretty. I am surprised that Aquarium made it through.
Well, we're going to visit all the venues here eventually. I think venues that you're seeing here in the group stages are not necessarily expected to be seen in the bracket stages.
Yeah.
Just to go through the format and the stakes. 8 players, so 1 from each group, will go through the next round with a bye. They'll jump through, and then the second and third place will also make it to the playoffs or the bracket stage, but we'll have to play an extra game. There are 5 players in the group, so some will be left in pools. That being said, we have additional tournaments for the losers. This will start us off with Yeesh here as Spy on Ballroom against Guggie. Any thoughts before we jump in, though, Yosh?
No, not really. I think this match is gonna be especially interesting for me because I have been historically underrating Yeesh, it seems, in my predictions. So I'm actually interested how the old blood that's apparently so old I don't necessarily remember it much will stand against the new people. Shall phrase like that.
I'll talk about Yeesh more, and we can talk more about Guggie here in a moment, but let's get the SpyParty rolling. This will be the first match that we're at least casting for this Summer Cup 2022. 10 years of tradition, and we're going to get it started in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
I'm actually a bit surprised with the Spy choice right off the bat, because Disney is not necessarily a character that many people will prefer to choose.
Yeah, we've talked a lot, me and Yeesh is very open about their opinions of the game, and they think Disney's better than most people do, for sure, especially their bugs. He's not actually on the pad here as he sets up for this bug. It's going to be a wrong arm, and Laser definitely dragged over us, but we do not take a highlight. I feel like that was seen, but not really appreciated.
It could have been seen, it could have been even noticed, but the sniper prefers to keep the information to themselves, because keep in mind, the laser is visible to the spy, so if Guggie chooses to go and take a highlight, that might give some additional information to Yeesh to start basing their play around that fact.
Yeesh is taking a calm approach otherwise. It's going to be an innocent drink take. We've been hanging out with nobody in particular, but here comes the flirt. It's an immediate talk, but there's only 2 of us. And actually, I lied. This print on the drink means that we are actually still rolling. That's going to be half a progress for our fingerprint mission.
And that's a hard print as well, so likely not gonna get tracked by Guggie. Guggie, of course, a bit of a newer player, but has been around for a while, and actually has been producing some decent results recently. I think he's taken second place in BTS, which has been our charity tournament that happened in June.
Yeah.
Beating Mini Oric in the process in the semifinals, so...
Guggie is definitely one of those players that's just been playing a lot, like, casually. They just do actually play the game. both competitively and casually. And as a result, it turns out if you play the game more, you get better. One of the interesting things, he has decided to highlight both Toby and more importantly Damon. Damon is very suspicious there at the back of the party. I don't think it's a terrible idea to highlight him, other than he literally can't be the spy.
Guggie is also known to uh, play and indulge in more funny aspects of SpyParty gameplay, so that highlight on Damon doesn't seem too suspicious to me, personally. It seems like a very Guggie thing to do.
Okay, Yeesh moving in with the double agent.
And the red.
SipBB hits it. If the bug was tracked, Yeesh has really done something to try and bait a low light. We're still neutral as it stands. But that's 2 missions. This will be a quick third one, and when we decide to do our flirt. And then we're hoping that there's a fingerprint. I've not been personally tracking it, but Yeesh probably has. If we're going to find a fingerprint, we prefer if it's not middle statue, because that would imply that we're completing 5 missions. I think there might be a fingerprint on one of these side statues, though.
A fingerprint on the side statue might actually be a way to bail us out, because Guggie knows that we haven't been to statues. And this highlight means, oh no, it's gonna be center statues here.
And it's a bit late, too. We might just get shot here if it goes into overtime. It's 13 seconds. Actually, the really brilliance of this is because it will not go into overtime, and we're one cycling, it's really going to be hard to shoot for. Yeesh finds the fingerprint on the middle statue, and because the bug was quality, because they were only highlight in the last 40 seconds, does not get shot here. Yeesh 1-0, and a spy win on Ballroom, definitely possible, but a really good start for the veteran.
Pretty good start indeed. It has been known for a long time that it's easier to get games on snipers, or starting the set off with a spy win actually gonna set the morale pretty high, I would imagine. Guggie, however, on the other hand, playing as Irish in our second game of Ballroom, really needs to pick up some steam.
So, in 3, 2, 1, planet. Yeah, as you're mentioning, the sniper, for most players, they're going to have a better sniper rate than they have a spy rate. That being said, Yeesh is definitely one of the most successful spies in competitive play we've ever seen. And they also matched that with a really strong sniper when they were at their peak. They haven't played much, and definitely, I don't think any casually, and they haven't played much competitively. So this is going to be, if they're beating Guggie, it's a really good result for them. If they're not beating Guggie, it's a warm-up match for the rest. The way Yeeshas usually end up doing these cups is kind of struggling through the groups, still getting through pretty handedly because they still have a lot of quality, and then being a potential threat in the bracket with different amounts of success, depending on who they match up. The problem with being kind of mediocre in the groups, because you're still getting used to playing the game again, is you end up with really hard matches in your first game in bracket. Guggie here, while I've not been talking about the game, has hit 2 green flirts and has not moved since. Really good start. We definitely want to get moving now because we've looked like an AI. We haven't done anything so far, and we definitely have the right to be moving towards progress.
Guggie going over to the statue, that can be interesting. The center statue pretty quick inspects, but a swap right off the bat trying to attempt a frame, and it actually does work. Yeesh knows about a certain tendency of our newer competitor to pick certain small characters, and this time around, it does not work in their favor.
Yeah, definitely was watching the swap pretty intently. I am surprised, but not truly surprised, that he didn't see the fade. There's different animations between the white test and the green test. That being said, I think this is definitely a showing of rust. Things like drink fades and even statue fades apparently are something that may have been lost with time.
As you have said, it's a pretty common pattern for the older players to pick up steam as the games ramp up, as the matches ramp up. So we will be able to get some more games in the future, especially considering that Ballroom still ended with a score of 1-1, so it's still a tie, bringing us all over to Veranda, where Yeesh is taking a page out of our opponent's book, picking up Irish in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably the most similar player to Yeesh in this experience. I've always come back to these tournaments a bit rusty. And for both of us, we've had conversations where we both agree it's much easier to come back and play Spy. We're both very natural at Spy, and there's a few things like hitting your action tests or remembering that fingerprints is our mission. You shouldn't have that problem last game. That drop potentially, but generally Spy is pretty easy to come back to. It's like riding a bicycle. Sniper is the one that you need a bit of warm up, and we'll see if it's going to happen here, maybe during this match or at least during the bracket. We got 32% here from Yeesh, which is kind of like the perfect amount. You can still finish in two, but you're not going to get pinned for the immediate like standing on their toes flirt.
Not that flirt pairing is necessarily the most powerful thing on Veranda, where there's just so many people to keep track of. The bug is
Jousting
gonna
bug.
happen there, right in the conversation, but it's really well blocked by everyone standing in front of us, so I don't think that might have actually been noticed. The highlight is definitely not here just yet. Yeesh might have gotten away with it again.
That's two bugs by Yeesh that are seemingly gotten away with. The way that bug works, just for anybody who doesn't understand why that particular bug worked, it wouldn't work in real life, right? If you're putting your hand into the body of somebody who isn't the ambassador, why would a bug stick on the ambassador? But the circles are really just the distance between us and the ambassador, because we were so far forward in the conversation, the bug was able to land. As I was saying with the 32, it sets up our ability to still finish 66%. Leaves us with a close white flirt, and we could do it here if we stand here for 45 seconds. We could also leave and go do something else with the drink take. I think we might be timer flirting.
I actually like the idea of taking a drink here. Usually taking a drink is not the best idea because it keeps your hands occupied, but with Bug down already, there's not really too much we need to have those hands for. I guess we will still need to find some inspects later in the game unless we want to do something particularly sneaky with the books or something else, but as of now, we can just take that timer flirt, finish our mission, and move on, especially with the gulp not noticed by Guggie.
Yeah, gulps are something that are very unlikely to be noticed unless you're already too suspicious. If you're so suspicious that you're going to get shot for gulping, you were going to get shot for literally anything. Our first inspect here, this will set up for things like inspect swap in the future. We're going to do a one cycle, we're going to get out, and we are going to avoid a highlight. I don't know if highlights have been going on for statues, but that's definitely a nice thing if you're Yeesh, not seeing the laser come over to you as you're picking up and putting down that statue.
And we're gonna go statue to statue as well, picking up that one in the back. Were we noticed doing that? I don't think the laser is on us at all as of yet, and yes, indeed, the swap
Green
is going
swap.
to be green. The laser finally pans out over to us, but no highlight.
And we are setting up for our fifth mission. This conversation that we're trying to get into with the double agent is going to be very full. Twin thankfully leaves us, and Seek tries to get in, but no, Seek. We got a double agent to do. Banana Bread, does two things. It's going to put us in mission win pending, but it's also slightly distracting from the swap. It's going to be 10 seconds. This could have looked like a Banana Bread split into swap. It does, and it's going to be a shot on Queen. That's another swap that the wrong person shot, but in this case it's the exact reverse of what we saw on Ballroom. We've seen 3 spy wins, but in this particular game it's Yeesh pulling off, again, a difficult spy win, but on an even harder map of Veranda. Good stuff from the spy. The snipers need to pick it up, though.
Well, it's hard to play snipers. There's so many things moving across the venues. There's so many characters, 21 in particular on this one, and just one of them being the spy. I don't know how you keep track of all of that. Gage is, however, gonna pick up Sick, one of the taller characters, which makes him stand out a little bit. But let's see what cheeses, if any, are prepared in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I do like that Guggie did have 11 lowlights after that game. There was only one Banana Bread, but that's a good handful of lowlights. Problem is, if the spy is doing 2 inspects, they should probably be highlight. That we let that go through. This bug
Oh,
is
not highlight for.
Yeah, that's not a highlight bug. That is a bug that you either get away with fully because it's so unexpected, it's a really weird spot for the ambassador to stop, or it's one that you get shot immediately because it's just seen. There's no middle ground. That Guggie has not been shot means that that bug was brilliant and not foolish.
Well, it is a nice little bit of progress to start off with, mirroring the progress that Yeesh has had on Spy action in the game just before, but we still need to complete 4 missions. There is quite a bit of time and quite a bit of pressure away from us now that bug is completed, but still, have to do some stuff, have to finish our flirt, which 34% is a pretty nice start to that one, for example, and 68 is going to be the continuation. Are we gonna go
I'd
for
like
the
to.
second timer flirt?
I would not like the timer flirt. The conversations on what's visible to Guggie are pretty full, and the double agent sync conversation I would have liked to see a relatively early banana bread. Um, the timer flirt obviously not going to work with our seduction target leaving. The flirt is going to just be rushed. Guggie seems comfortable with getting these early flirts. I mean, last time it was just with 2 green tests, but this will put us at 2 missions done, and we
And we're
could do
gonna go for
microfilm.
the action test. Yes, the first one is gonna get completely unnoticed just behind the door. Flirting with
I mean,
danger here, but
so many players get shot for a white test that they wouldn't get shot for a green test. That Guggie's alive now is a bit of a blessing because that is one of the worst places to white test a microfilm, and Guggie now actually has bookcases that are a bit easier to work with, particularly the green one. I wouldn't suggest doing it right when the ambassador is at the green bookcase for finishing up this microfilm, but you can often get a bit of cover. Seek's going to be a bit harder than usual, but uh, Guggie's actually in a good position to complete that mission. We're in a position here to complete Banana Bread. Here it goes.
ouch!
Oh!
Yeah, that
Banana bread.
Randomness.
always hurts. The double agent decides to go for a briefcase right after we let off the banana bread, so the choice is simple. We just try and split. We go for that book in the back. We go
Yes.
for the white test microfilm. The hand is visible on camera, but I don't think he has noticed it necessarily. The second action
I
test, also the harder one in my opinion, is
Yeah,
done.
I'm surprised. There's a lot of things like, for example, fades that we saw in the first game, where I'm expecting Yeesh is going to have a bit more trouble than your average player who's played as many games and had as much success as him. White test microfilms are not the
Banana
sort of
bread.
thing I thought that Yeesh would be missing. Here comes our second banana bread. The double agent tried to split on us again, by the way, just to the same bookcase or same area at least. But
Ah,
we are 4 missions and a half done. It's likely to be the fingerprint that we do have the purloin or the swap in our pocket if the ambassador doesn't touch anything. They've been over here, but the briefcase is going to get grabbed, I think, before we have a moment. Guggie showing intention, but the briefcase is snatched from us. Ambassador is going to be kept on screen. They're going around the corner, which makes it really awkward. You can sometimes tell where the ambassador is. It looks like they're heading towards the bookcase, so we're going to get eyes on them. Uh, yeah, we can probably snag this. We need Cowboy not to ruin our day,
he's gonna
both
smack
by
it, isn't he?
breaking the print. Oh, he's going for the briefcase. Okay. This
It
is
is
going to be
gonna be
difficult.
difficult, and we will actually hit it 10.1 as the mission cooldown starts, so perfect time just not to get overtime, which is a pretty disgusting point to
The
me.
spy win is incoming. Another spy winning on veranda without being highlit. Yeesh has 14 lowlights, mainly because of the 2 banana breads. But if you're not highlighting the spy, you're not going to be winning these games in the future, too. Both players are playing lights out on spy, and it's going to really come down to who can tighten up a bit on their sniper. That's 4 spy wins in a row.
Oh, I don't think the next venue is particularly friendly to snipers. With high-rise, it has been bumped compared to the setups that you might be familiar with. It's not a 3 out of 5, it's a 3 out of 6. However, to balance it out, you either have to play with a microfilm or the swap. In this particular case, a transfer is gonna get chosen by Yeesh, who is trying to get just another spy win to continue getting ahead, while Guggie is desperately scrambling to find a sniper win to pull ahead in this very interesting game so far.
Yeah, Yeesh has wheels. My favorite microfilmer to note. In 3, 2, 1 planet. Yeah, so
Now,
the microfilm swap rule. Immediately highlight. That's very funny. I don't know why what for. It
oh
looks like half
no.
the party got highlight, but that's unfortunate for Yeesh. We're standing next to a suspected double agent too. It's not like we did anything wrong. We're not even flirting. Just eating the highlight with everybody else. I want to see how this works out actually. Guggie's got a plan here.
Now the thing about high rise, the one why I thought it might not be the good idea for
Oh,
the
flashes on Damon.
snipers, is the fact that the AIs are pretty likely to finish on this venue, which makes frames potentially very powerful. And a lot of flashes all around. Guggie is either doing the meme thing, as it is known in the community, or just kind of in a little bit of tilt because losing sniper games
Banana bread.
is not the outcome you expect, usually.
From here, most people had that banana bread. The one person who was flashed on with the safety was Boots, and they were low light. It really does look like some of these players are, or like some of these characters are trying to complete banana bread and flirt, including Yeesh there at the back. That whole conversation just looks very shady. Yeesh, rejecting drinks, I think a good thing to do. The ambassador has a small chance of coming back behind us or dropping a briefcase that we really want to pick up. But yeah, we can see that all the snipers zooming on the left side. And what I want to mention is the reason that swap and microfilm are forced is, and particularly swap, if you have to rotate all the way over to the right side to go check the statues, because some dumb AI has picked it up and could potentially be swapping, it makes it so the sniper isn't allowed to just zoom in on these conversations and watch flirt and banana breads all day in these conversations. Or Purloin to note. And the Purloin's
Well,
off. Interesting.
it doesn't look like much progress on the side of the sniper, but I have to point out that Damon is finally low lit, so there will be no shooting the security agent in this particular game. That said, just a banana bread done and 45% on the flirt. The timer might not be on our side because those timer flirts are getting pretty awful.
Banana bread.
Bread's just noise. No lowlights to take. It's just making sure that everybody's credited, though I think everybody was credited on the first one. Our flirt target is being approached.
I like the idea of a second banana bread actually. If Guggie is a person who would try and track in which conversation people were during the first banana bread, someone changing those conversations might actually be a bug happen. A bug is shifted on and a shot happens.
Yeah, that shot was coming from a mile away. Once he saw that bug, the hand stuck out a bit too much. But I was a bit worried there because Twin came across the laser as the shot was coming off for returning the briefcase. Guggie does take a moment. He at minimum had 10 seconds, so was able to line up the shot, and we see our first sniper win. Actually, Guggie takes the lead.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wheels also pretty commonly understood to be one of the worst buggers in the game. Unfortunately, being a bad bugger just leads to more suspicion, leads to shots for those exact missions. Guggie now in a position to finally get a lead for themselves as red dress is chosen. Smallman, of course, is going to be our seduction target, allowing us to move him around if needed. And we shall begin our game in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of games where the spy didn't get highlight, and then Guggie went and highlight everybody just to make sure that the spy was highlight. So, good stuff from Guggie, and I mean it paid off with the win. I'm not sure what the strategy truly was.
And that's a bug.
That's just
and
a
that-
randy standing bug, no angle or anything,
Completely on camera.
and completely on camera, and he's not dead. He's not highlight. I think there might have been some timing with people at statues. I think the laser was trying to do a highlight at the moment, but Guggie getting away with murder. This is how you play SpyParty.
I
He's going
don't
for the
think
kill too.
that's necessarily Guggie going away with murder. It's Guggie getting away with not being murdered, which, now
Yeah,
that I
true.
think about it, is the complete opposite. That said,
This is
middle inspects
this
usually
is going for the throat. middle inspects right after your bug. We could end the game here immediately with a contact, or we can play it slow with something like a flirt.
We're
This is a
going
completely
for a
unnecessary statue visit.
statue, but
Oh
that's
no,
off
it's not.
screen.
We're gonna swap. Oh no, Yeesh, you gotta rotate over. This man's styling on you.
Speaking
The laser.
about styling, that's the one.
Ah, disgusting.
You always have to expect those clanks from Guggie at the end of the game. And this particular case, yeah, you were talking about swaps forcing the sniper to look over there in case one intrepid AI decides to pick them up. But what about the spy? Well,
Before anybody gets mad, the Guggies clank the statue. One, it's fair game. It's a mechanic. But two, Yeesh is probably the most prolific clanker in all of competitive Spy Party. This is just a bit of just desserts for him, to be honest.
and well, all is fair in love and war. And in this particular case, mental warfare might actually be a thing as spy wins keep on piling on. Yish has not won a sniper game this set yet. And those clanks might just upset him even further and lead to the level of play decreasing, which is a thing that Gagi would want playing against him.
Okay, Yisha is tapped in 3, 2, 1, playing it. To note, this is Group C, or Group Taft, because he is Mr. C. So this is on brand.
Going to pick up a very quick flirt, 34% adds a bar, pearls moving right next to us, that is pretty interesting, but nothing to be scoffed at just yet.
Yeah, on a map that wasn't as threatening, this would really look like a flirt. I'm gonna struggle to believe that Guggie's really pinning Taft here as potentially flirting with either of these characters, just because Aquarium has a lot going on. A lot being one of the many names for this shark, his real name being Keel.
Actually, speaking about a lot of things happening on Aquarium, how likely is Yish to pull off some of the sharknanigans?
Quite. So Yeesh, for being as unpracticed as I'm expecting that he is the exact sort of player who would be excited about things like shark walks. He's always been an innovator.
I
Not that shark walking is particularly innovative at this point. We see it in half the games we cast on Aquarium.
mean, nowadays it feels like you either know how to do
Put me
the
in the
thing,
red.
and then the venue's pretty easy, and you're probably picking it often. And that bug is a pretty nice example of why you would pick it.
Half time head spot. A bit of aquarium lore for you. There was a day one aquarium tourney. It was like a round robin that you played everybody once, so you'd only really play one game. Lazy Bear won it, and he won it by playing Taft and heading into that corner and time adding, and using the fact that Taft is wearing brown and the corner is quite brown,
Oh no.
to just be able to do a bunch of time adds. And because nobody was watching anybody else's game, they're all playing. He got away with it every time. It was very funny to watch once it came up and was casted. We got the bug. We don't really have much else. We're gonna finish the flirt here sooner or later, but not right now. The big thing we really want is the double agent to calm down, but they are heading off about as far away from the conversations as they possibly
And you
can.
go
So
for the delegate split as well. If Gage notices this might be pretty big because it is actually quite telegraphed. However, once the Perlin happens, if you did not remember that happening, Yish is in a complete other conversation, and if you're trying to lowlight people who couldn't have Perlined, Yish might have just been one of those lowlights. The list is taken now, so let's see how much Gage knows.
no immediate reaction. Definitely no shot. It's been at least 10 seconds. The fourth mission is expected to be Banana Bread, but this is actually one of those spots where a silent game might be really good. Lowlights finally do come off. Yeesh has not copped one. It's actually down to just a few, but Irish is still the only highlight. If Yeesh wins this, he might win it with a neutral light again, being down 4-2 but having 2 spy wins is a very weird situation to be in.
However, 30 seconds on the clock, you are really forced to do something, and the double agents don't seem to cooperate at all. Have to point out that Boots is one
No.
of the lowlights, and that would have been the characters that would have sent us if.
Briefcase is absolutely awful. This double agent's been incredibly rough. The only options that we really have would be swap, and we've passed that time too. Yeesh is just gonna time out. Just
Oh no.
Banana bread.
nothing except for a
Ah!
BM banana bread at the end.
I love
Double
this
agent knock-
play. The double agent was trying to enter the conversation, so we went for a banana bread, trying to aim for a white. So we would have let off a banana bread after the double agent joins the conversation. However, it was a green, and unfortunately in this particular case, a
Banana
green
bread.
was not good. We have started a banana bread right afterwards, and that one was real, but it was too late already.
I can just looking at 0.0.
Oof.
Sari's head is turned left. She is clearly in the conversation, and like in canon,
Banana bread.
listening to Alice. There was a moment here for hitting the banana bread. Yeesh went for the Hail Mary play. This would have been so beautiful if it hit, but instead we just get some Lagorv taps in chat. Some not like this is just 0.3 seconds early.
I love this play. Unfortunately, I don't think this game should have had that type of play involved. And it was a risky play, and this risk definitely did not pay out.
You have Taft, you have 3 missions, you haven't had the laser come over to you after the purloined. Go swap. Like, go body block swap. If you get shot for it, you get shot for it. This is such a clever play, and I love it. I adore the play. It's the sort of thing I really like, and why I really applaud Yeesh's spy play. But the chance that the double agent goes into this conversation in itself is pretty minimal.
And that is
Yeah,
yet
and he
another
might still
game that would tilt you, to be honest.
Oh,
And now
Guggie's run
Yeesh
it back. Show us how
has
to
to-
inspect swap.
has to play the sniper against Guggie, playing Theft. For a second game of Aquarium in a row, in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and it's almost
And
assured
go
that
into the statues immediately. Look at this. Kill comes over from the right. Yeesh, I don't think the laser has been on the statue, and the swap comes off, and the swap is not noticed, seemingly.
yeah, and the white test is what
It
you want
is
to do.
noticed.
It is noticed.
Never mind.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Yeesh finally finding some ground to stand on here with the sniper. The immediate swap, and when I say immediate, it needs to be immediate. 8 seconds in here for the swap is both relying that the sniper looked to the bottom left instead of the top right statues, and incorrectly because the shark would then show up, and also that they don't see it within those last few of the 8 seconds because the shark had moved out of the way by the time. In this case, it looks like Yeesh cycles through and does the back right statues first, which, unless you're doing some incredible research, you wouldn't know.
I thought the swap happened just slightly delayed as well, which got it caught on screen. Either way, Yeesh finally taking a sniper win for themselves, which is a pretty nice turning point for them. I think Guggie is still slightly ahead, but we shall see how the games go on. We still have 2 venues left, I believe, in Courtyard and Pub. And let's start off with Courtyard, with Yeesh playing as general. Unfortunately, the induction target is not correct, in my personal opinion, but that's just my opinion. Let's see the game in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Out's being called in chat. We'll see. Yeesh has been very successful on the spy so far. So he's had 2, and he really could have had 3 there with the last game. He got away with the purloin too. Both players have been playing well and getting away with most things that they've been doing. So Courtyard, a harder map to do it. The spy rate doesn't show it, but it definitely feels a bit choked in regards to your options. And I think we're going to just see a pretty standard here flirt, and maybe even a contact. Actually, this contact would end up being very good. Perfect contact, actually, if we take it.
Yeah, it does seem like it. And
Banana
it is
bread.
here, and it is also green. So
Yeah.
2 missions almost done well, one done, one almost done with Cheese Flirt right off the bat. Have to point out that Pearls was a lowlight for a while, and I was about to ask why, but the light is brought up. It appears that just a little bit of aim mistake.
Yeah, perfect banana bread. Everybody in conversation, and even beyond that, like the conversations that did have the double agent, or the suspected double agents, were pretty full too. So you couldn't ask for more. After we saw that terrible double agent luck in the last game, I'm sure Yeesh is feeling a bit luckier now that they have 2 missions complete.
And, well, you have touched on it before, but Kotiat is definitely the most formulaic venue, it seems to me. Because you just get your flirt, you get your banana bread, you get your inspects, which we are starting off now with a print as well. And now you have, what, 90 seconds to find the fourth mission? In this particular
Yeah.
case, it looks to be fingerprints because of that statue chase. And let's see how Guggie remembers those.
Yeah, Guggie's generally noted for having a pretty sporadic laser. That being said, on Courtyard, you definitely want to just be moving left and right. Uh, if you don't, you're going to get swapped on a decent percentage of the time.
Or Bogdan, that is also one of the
Bug is
pretty
the reason why you
important.
want to stay still. Bug, it's easier to see stay still, but also you just want to always have the ambassador on camera. This is a decent time for a fingerprint because someone like Kane could be doing a reverse bug. Really has to make you think about it.
4 seconds
Yeesh.
on the clock.
I think it was the
And
statue
we are
print we
going
got
for
away
a
with.
bug. I
Yeah,
like
5
it.
missions.
The clapback with the meme finishes following the clank on high rise. And Guggie now needs to get it back together. Playing as a rocker on the spy side. However, not an issue, as we all know, Kotyat is spy favorite, and apparently this game is spy favorite, judging by this particular match, so shouldn't be too much of a hassle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
This is one that Yeesh really has to take a hold of, though. You cannot give Guggie a courtyard game. It's one of those things where if you're feeling good on Sniper, you should feel very confident on courtyard. Um, there are ways to completely derail that confidence, a couple of time ads, for example, but we haven't seen a time ad yet this match, actually.
Yeah, the players really are not entertaining you as much as they probably should. But we are here to watch, we aren't here to give play advice. Either way, just gonna end up right next to our double agent, which in this case is Smallman, probably banking on the fact that no one would choose Smallman as their double agent because they're so important, right?
That bug.
And the bug. Pretty good
Dude,
one.
that bug. He knew the ambassador would leave because he's been crowded out. Ambassadors hates people.
And the
And he
Purloin.
takes the bug, which
We're
the
going for a
Purloin
Dutch
is...
game, all the hot tails.
This is unnecessary. If you get away with the bug, you don't need to be doing the Purloin. Yeesh is taking a low light, but has not highlight the spy, and the spy is about to win. The flirt, the first one wasn't green, so we're only at 84%. But the Guggie isn't dead is something that he can be ecstatic about. You don't want to meet him at statues. We don't want the ST picking up briefcases. We just want them to come potentially back to this conversation, preferably.
I mean, I don't even know, to be honest, because the longer the more time is spent before the mission finish, the more people can finish. So the longer we wait, the higher the chance someone else gets shot. And Queen is a highlight compared to us, so that would probably be the one I'd be looking at as a sniper.
Yeah, we do have this problem as Yeesh, where if you're 99% confident that Guggie has a purloin, but you don't know about the bug, you might feel that you don't need to even highlight, you can just watch Guggie and you'll shoot them when they go to statues. They won't go to statues, they've already got the bug, and it was a nasty one at that.
Mission
10
win
seconds
countdown
here.
has started. And yeah, it doesn't seem like there is any indications that we are getting shot because we would have been shot already. Pretty nice game.
Not see a bug today, and it's unfortunate. 11 low lights, 1 highlight, but it's not even the spy. Maybe if it was the spy, we would have found it, but just letting 2 hardtails through on courtyard. He's going to be a bit disappointed with himself. Guggie's going to be ecstatic because this is actually putting him on match point, as at least guaranteed himself a tie by hitting 6 wins.
And Yeesh does seem to me like the opponent to beat in this group because the group consists of Banana Bread, Guggie, Hornet, Yeesh, and Roxo. And if you are Guggie, I think Yeesh is probably the hardest opponent in the group to play for you. So
Yeah, Banana Bread's a quality opponent. I think Yeesh definitely would have been and Guggie would have been considered the top two. If you're beating Yeesh and you can eventually beat Banana Bread, the two new players are new. They are wild cards in that sense. But generally, somebody with as much experience as Guggie should also be considered a pretty heavy favorite there. Uh, Even a tie here is enough, but let's see if Guggie can close it out. It's going to be Sniper Arcade Pub. It's a 3 of 7 with only 2:45 on the clock. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
well, let's see how Guggie will take it. Few lowlights let off, mostly just typical double agent lowlights. There is a highlight for, I'm going to assume, a delegate here, but it's pretty quickly brought down, which is interesting to me.
Where now? These two pads are connected, but both characters need to be pretty uh, stuffed up against the front of the pad to have it pay off. Yeesh not going for the immediate flirt and is low lit. There's a lot of lowlights going off. What does
Oh,
Guggie
right.
think is happening?
You haven't noticed. So I have to point out that pub starts off with 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the time, and we have just added 45 seconds back. I thought you would notice.
Oh, those are time ad lowlights? I don't notice
I'm
time
gonna
ad. That's
guess.
why I think the reason I think time ad is so good is I've never noticed a time ad on the sniper side of my life.
And there are 2 highlights here, and those 2 highlights are the people at Windows. And Guggie
Shot,
has
but
it.
it's a correct shot. Congratulations to Guggie. That's 7 wins. It is Summer Cup. You do play the matches out. We will get one more game here on Pub.
And what a way to close the game, if not playing Smallman. Guggie's
Yep.
signature pick, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna imagine. I'm also gonna imagine either a bug out of the blue or maybe like 4 time ads. Let's see how quickly you will shoot him for it, though.
3, 2, 1, go. The lore of Yeesh. One of my favorite matchups in all of SpyParty is Yeesh versus Yeren.
And there's a
They
bug.
ended up playing each other a lot. Bug, and it's not seen because Yeesh can't see a dang bug today. And both Yeesh and Yeren came to the realization that the best thing they could do against each other was rush. Both to like make them nervous, but also they were just getting away with a lot of rushes. Here from Guggie, we see that he
And
is
the
doing the
swap.
rushiest of rushes. That's a green swap too. The mission win countdown, we could have won within 30 seconds or within the first 45, I guess. But because of the green swap, it's going to take a bit longer.
You're going to window. I love this play actually. The white timer just to annoy the sniper a little bit. However, the fade is here, and the fade is noticed.
Okay, Yeesh learned what fades were here before the end of the set. Good recovery here from Yeesh to bring it back. It might matter in regards to tiebreakers, particularly if Guggie was to lose to somebody like Banana Bread. But really, the congratulations go out to Guggie. Just playing a really punchy spy and getting rewarded for it throughout the set. Yeesh, I mean, if he can clean up his sniper too, is still going to be a threat throughout this tournament. The spy has looked very clean. It's just the sniper that I'm a bit concerned about, given I know how much quality he has. GG's either way. Really fun.